Hey guys, this is Comic Uno, and today I'm doing Comic Uno's Best Comics of the Week, and I'm finally back. I know I had a 2-week hiatus. I had COVID, so could not do videos, but I'm back. I feel better, so let's get into it. But before I do jump in, of course, at the end of the video, we do discuss the viewer's pick of the week, but since I've been gone for 2 weeks, just let me know in the comments below what your pick of the week was for this week. That way next week we could feature your comments. Also, I do have a Kickstarter going on right now for buy visibility. Still buy. There's plenty of wonderful creators on here, including Lisa Sturl, Christopher Peterson, and a whole bunch of other creators you might know. It's all about bisexuality, but exploring different genres like vampires, slice of life, reality television, sci-fi. There's a genre for everybody, so hopefully you could go check that out. That is live on Kickstarter right now. Now, jumping into this week's books, I actually don't have that many books this week. I only have 8 books, but there are some bigger titles that came out this week. So number 8 for me was actually one of those bigger titles, and that is Black Adam issue 1. Black Adam, I've never been a huge fan of the character. I've enjoyed Captain Marvel / Shazam over the years, especially since the New 52, and honestly that was probably my first introduction to Black Adam, and obviously now we do have the movie coming out as well, but I've never been a huge fan of the character. But I do like Christopher Priest, and what he's done with Deathstroke in the past. I was like, all right, I loved what he did with the mythology of Deathstroke. Can he do the same thing with Black Adam? And the answer is yes, but not really in a new reader-friendly way. So in the end of the issue is the big reveal that there is going to be a protege, kind of like a Billy Batson, for Black Adam. And we get to be introduced to a new character. But it happens at the end of the issue, so a lot of it's just build up, but not necessarily getting into the character type build up. There's a lot of action, and for me, I just couldn't get into the character, even with the new perspective and the new mantle of Black Adam. I just couldn't really get invested in this one. The art style is very similar to what we got with Deathstroke, though, especially with the patterns of the grids, which felt nice and familiar if you enjoyed the Deathstroke run. But I don't know if this convinced me to get another issue. So overall, giving that 2 stars. If you're a hardcore Black Adam fan, I think you're going to enjoy this. But if you're not, I don't know if this will make you a Black Adam fan. Now moving on to number 7, which is a book I'm disappointed to see so low, and that is Marvel Voices Pride issue 1. I think I was on this show when I reviewed DC Pride, but if I wasn't, it was actually my pick of the week when that came out, and I really enjoyed the organization and the heart that kind of went into that book, and I enjoyed both volumes a lot in 2021, but I didn't feel the same passion for this book. And again, not saying there wasn't passion brought into this, but I just didn't feel like it was as layered compared to the DC one. There was a lot of fluff in this, where we get to see a lot of prose mixed in just to kind of fill out pages. I feel like there weren't as many stories, and there wasn't a lot of stories that actually continued to go somewhere else, unlike DC, where we get to see like Connor Hawke or Tim or even Superboy, characters we are seeing on a monthly basis. And here we're just like, here's this one-off character. There might be one character that shows up as a side character in New Mutants, that was probably the one I enjoyed the most, was the new character, the trans character, and just seeing her story. I enjoyed that. I was like, oh, cool, and we get to see her friend as well, and I enjoyed that. There was definitely more of heftiness to it, because you got that continuation of, okay, let's go into New Mutants and you can find this character, this is her origins. The rest were just kind of one-off stories for me, and I was a little disappointed with that, and some of the artwork I felt like could have been stronger, and just characters I normally like, I feel like I wanted to have even more spotlight of. There's definitely a big chance of a Young Avengers reunion that we don't really get here, and they kind of tease it, and I didn't feel like they went full throttle. And honestly, I just thought last volume had, again, personal preference for me, more characters that I had more of a connection to, like Carolina or Black Cat. So giving that one 2.5 stars, I was a little disappointed with that one. But I love the Black Cat variant cover, so I do enjoy that. All right, so number 6 is New Fantastic Four. This book was actually supposed to come out last week, but it did not, so it came out this week. And we have the issue, and I believe it's Peter David who wrote it, so he's been doing a lot of the nostalgia books. And we got some Maestro Hulk, and that's kind of in the same flavor as this. It doesn't really have a lot of stakes, but if you enjoyed this era of the Fantastic Four a lot, you'll enjoy this, I'm sure. I kind of wish the team interacted a little bit more and kind of gave it more flavor. The artwork was really solid for this, though. The facial expressions and action was really good, but most of the issue, like 10 pages of the issue, is like focused on this priest, and then you get into the new Fantastic Four, so I definitely wanted more of the actual team a bit, and I just don't know if it really stuck out to me. You know, it was like, oh, I gotta get this next issue. It was just kind of a one and done, kind of forgettable, but if you're looking for a fun adventure, I think you'll enjoy it. I don't think it was bad. It was just kind of middle ground for me, so I'm gonna give that 3 stars, and that is number 6. Moving on to number 5, and that is The Amazing Spider-Man, issue 4. I am so conflicted with this book. I know we're like 2 issues away from issue 900, and it doesn't really feel like it's building up to that. It's just like a lot of stalling, it feels like. And I'm not a huge fan of John Romita Jr.'s art, but I do feel like his art's stronger when it comes to the superhero stuff, and it's mostly superhero stuff in this issue, so I think this is some of his better work. But, you know, I'm not enjoying the artwork as much, so that's kind of already a nick off of it. But number 2 is the story. This is just mostly Spider-Man trying to find Tombstone and finding out, okay, the thing that he thought he was Tombstone was doing with Robbie wasn't happening. So, and that was kind of the end of the issue, which I kind of like, that there was like that twist ending, but there's not much to this issue. There's a very small amount of Mary Jane and Black Cat in this issue, where Black Cat's like, oh, Peter's in trouble, and MJ's like, oh, okay. And then that's kind of the conversation. And then Black Cat says, oh, cute kid. You know, another kind of hint that this kid has not been around for a long time, but also Black Cat doesn't question the kid. So there wasn't much meat there. And I guess that's my big thing. There's not a lot of meat at all in this issue. I'm not saying it's bad, because I think there's some fun action stuff here and fun Spider-Man moments here, but I just don't really know where this book is going, especially as we lead into this big legacy numbering. So giving that 3 stars, and that is number 5. Moving on to number 4, another book I was kind of conflicted with, and that's Dark Crisis Young Justice issue 1, a book I was really looking forward to, and I like this issue. I think, you know, as a Young Justice fan, I've been a fan of the original comic. I love these characters. These are my Teen Titans. I very much enjoy it. I personally enjoyed the deep cuts. Like, I love seeing Arrowhead again, a character very little people know of, unless you're a hardcore Young Justice fan. But I thought she was a little out of character. There's the moment of her saying, oh, I'm retired, which is definitely not out of character, but her not wanting to help Cassie at all felt a little weird to me. And I felt like that was my biggest issue of the issues, how stilted all the characters kind of felt, where Cassie was kind of just like, I mean, she was sad, obviously, because of Wonder Woman, but just like, I felt like she wasn't as strong as she normally is. She wasn't the leader she normally is, and she was just kind of on the sidelines, even though she was the voice of the issue. But then you had the more plot-driven stuff, like obviously the half of the Young Justice going missing, which is interesting, and then seeing the very old school Young Justice from the original series, that version of Cassie come about, and I'm curious to see, maybe she'll be a stronger leader. So I like that. Braga's artwork is a little stilted for me sometimes. I wish there was a little bit more emotion, but I think the pencils are very clean. So overall, again, a little conflicted, because I just love these characters so much, and I don't know if this was everything I expected, but I'm glad I got the characters, and I think there's potential to be had with this series. So overall, giving that 3 stars, and that is number 4. Moving on to number 3, which is Nightwing, issue 93. And honestly, I thought this was a really well-rounded issue. We get to see the commentary about the police in Bloodhaven, and I thought that was pretty well done. I think it was pretty organic in the issue. But also, I just enjoyed Nightwing and Barbara Gordon's interaction with each other. They get some good screen time here, and just the action was so good. The action, the art, and the small moments really worked for me here. Even though this wasn't a huge issue, it was a good point A to point B. We moved the pieces around a little bit for the villain, which has been taking a while to kind of get that plot going. So I'm glad we got a little bit more motion there. There was some good character beats. Overall, a solid issue, but I really think the art is what made the issue for me for this one. So overall, giving that 4 stars, and that is number 3. Moving on to number 2, which is Rogue Sun, issue 4, I believe we're up to? Yes. Oh, issue 5. This is issue 5, and last issue had such a big cliffhanger with Dylan's mom being a villain maybe, or at least wearing a suit that looks villainous because she's wearing green. And what I really love about this book is you don't know who's a hero or a villain, and that's kind of a big part of this, where, yeah, the mom's wearing the green suit, but she definitely has reason to want to take Dylan's power away, or for now, and make him a different type of hero, and why she would hate her ex-husband. He left randomly and with no explanation. I do wish there was more moments where we got to the transition between her being upset about her husband and her becoming this person, because I was a little confused of, okay, has she wanted powers for this long? Like, what was that journey? They showed little snippets of it, but I kind of wish we were with her a little bit longer on that. I kind of wish this was just a double-sized issue, because there was just so much I wanted even more, because there were so many interesting little tidbits that were introduced here, and I hope that the series will have more time to explore this dynamic, because there was a lot of exposition in this issue, but in a good way. There's a lot of good character exposition, and I was like, oh man, I want to see, like, more of this. I was very invested and interested, and I think this issue just really scratched the surface for me. But yeah, this was really good. There's some good reveals in this one, and it's just such a solid series. So overall, giving that 4 stars, and excited to see where this one goes. And the artwork, as always, is super, super good. Kind of has a Dan Moore feel to me. And there's some good action in this one as well. Moving on to my number 1 pick, which is World's Finest, actually, Batman and Superman. So this one's really grown on me. The first issue, I wasn't completely sold compared to a lot of other fans, because I was like, it just feels like an action issue. But this is kind of how you do an action issue. There feels to be stakes. I think my only nitpick of the stakes is that I don't really know where this is set in the DC universe, and that's not the fault of this book. I think it's more the fault of how superhero comics are connected these days. I was like, all right, well, how is this actually affecting Superman and Batman today? But it seems like it will, after this arc is over, connect a little bit more with the Batman versus Robin stuff that they're planning. But this issue, at first, I was like, okay, it's just going to be an action issue. You get to see them fighting Green Lantern. And then once the fusion happens between Batman and Superman, you're like, okay, this is going to be a really cool issue. And it is, because, you get to see a lot of times Batman and Superman team up. This is not the first time we've gotten to see this type of book happen. But to see, like, kind of a Digimon version of them fusing together and actually being in each other's heads and showing how they are each individually good at fighting in different ways and helping each other was really cool to see and made the issue for me. But then the end, what made this pick of the week for me, is where Robin goes missing and is dropped in this timeline, but then also Supergirl revealing that someone's going to have to sacrifice themselves if they want to save the day. And, they give a whole reason of why, and magically and plot-driven wise, why, and plot device wise. But, it was really good. And then you have Dan Mora's artwork on top of it, especially for a more action-driven issue, but then really hitting those beats with the emotional moments here was really, really good. So overall, I would say this is the best issue of World's Finest, in my opinion. I really enjoyed this, and that is why it's pick of the week, and I gave that 4 stars. Let me know in the comments below, what is your pick of the week? Hopefully you guys enjoyed, and I will see you guys in the next one.